Welcome back, guys. So when you're starting a new project, a new design project on Figma, the first thing you do is to give it a name. You could start a new Figma board. You could start a new slide deck. We're going to still talk about all this, but right now let's start a new design file. So just say you want to name a new design file. All you have to do now is to give it a name. So the first thing you do is to give it a name, and this is where you get to name your design file. So you click on here and you give it a name. You give whatever name you want to give it. You would say like this could be introduction. Okay, this could be a design project. So whatever name you want to give it, you could give it. So you give it a name, and that's the first thing you do. So you just go back to so you could see what we've done. So you go back to files and you see this is the design project name. And if you feel like you want to delete a project, all you have to do is to right click your mouse. Then you could easily delete this project. You could rename, you could do a lot of things, you could duplicate. So what I'll just do is to move this to trash. I'll move that to trash to have that deleted. So you can delete projects you don't need, and you can actually rename a project if you have to rename a project. So that way you get to create a project name, and that's the first thing you should do when you want to start a design project. So having to talk about the Figma interface. So right now I want to go into the main features of the interface. So the first thing I want to show you are pages and layers, which are of great use. So when you come to pages, we only have two pages right here. So you could delete any page you don't want, and you could duplicate pages. So the current page we have is just a single page, and you could just rename your pages. You could say this one is for onboarding. Pages gives you the ability to have different systems. You can have your design system separate. So you could add a new page. You could just click on this plus button to add a new page and name it design systems. So this is how your design files will be arranged. It's just a way to give your design and organization. As you could see, we are in the file section and we have pages and layers right here. So the pages does the work of organizing your design elements and content. So you could just divide your designs into different pages. One could be for the visual element, another one could be for the lofi design. We're still going to talk about lofi design. So you could just create different pages just to navigate through them. So we could have lofi design in a separate page, so we could navigate to the lofi design. You could add another page and have your ifi design separately. So you could have all these things separately, and you could go ahead to add your portfolio design separately so that everything does not seem cluttered. So that's what this is going to be about. So that is pages for you. And we have the layers. The layers is used to identify your elements. For instance, when you have a design, let me just draw something. For instance, when I draw a rectangle, you see the rectangle becomes a layer. That's a layer. So we could just add more. So when I draw a circle, let me just draw an ellipse, which is a circle. So I will draw a circle right here. As you could see, we have a circle right here. So the circle right now is going to be an element, which you could see they are arranged according to their layers. So the first layer is the rectangle, which is underneath the ellipse. So the ellipse is up while the rectangle is down. That's what it means. But if you want this to go down, if you want this circle to go down, the circle could go down by you dragging it down this way. So the circle goes down and the rectangle comes up. That's what it means. So you could see the rectangle comes up and the circle goes down. Let me just give it a different color so you could see what I'm saying. We're still going to talk about all these. So let me just give it a different color. So let me just give it like a red color so you understand what I'm saying. You could see this goes down, the ellipse goes down, but when you bring it up, it comes up. So that's layer for you, is where all the elemental designs will be, while the file, which is the pages. So if you are arranging your design file, you have to arrange them in pages and layers. So what this literally means is that your pages will keep your design organized, like having your design systems in a separate page and having your other design visual elements in a separate page. So that's what the pages are for. Every page would have a different layer. That's what it means. So when you go to your ifi does not have any layer right now, but when you go back to your lofi, when you go back to your onboarding, when you go back to your portfolio design, you see that what we are doing, the layers came back. So layers and pages are mainly used for organization of your elements, your design here on Figma. layer. So I hope you got that. Having to talk about this side panel, this first side panel first, we've talked about the file right here. We talked about pages and layers. So the next thing I want to show you is the movement tool. So here you begin to have the movement tool right here. So we have three tools right here. As you can see, we have the move tool, we have the hand tool, and we have the scale tool. So I'll tell you what we're going to use each for. So right now we have the move tool. Currently the menu is in the move tool. So the move tool is used to move things around. You could move things around with the move tool. So that's what I just did. So the move tool can be used to move things around. That's what the move tool is. Then when you go to the hand tool, what the hand tool does is for you to navigate this panel. So you could use your hand tool to shift around the canvas area. So that's what hand tool is used for. So the move tool is used to move things around, your element around. So the elements in the layers, you get to move them around with the hand tool. Without the move tool, you cannot move your elements around in the layers, but with the hand tool you can move your elements around the canvas area. But right now let's go back to the move tool. So the move tool can be used to move elements around. So the elements in your layers, so this is the rectangle element, this is me moving it around with the move tool, and this is the ellipse element, this is me moving it around with the move tool. So the move tool and the hand tool performs different functions. They are both for movement. As you could see, the first one is used to move things around the canvas area, and the second one is used to move elements around. Basically that's the hand tool and the move tool. Then we have the scale tool. The scale tool is used to resize elements. For instance, we have this rectangle element. With the scale tool we can resize it. So that's what it means. When you are in the move tool, this is the move tool right here, you can as well resize in the move tool, but the scale is specifically for resizing. As you could see, so you could use to resize, you could change the radius. But let's go back to the move tool. When you are in the move tool, let's see, you could see the scale tool is very powerful because it's actually available in the move tool, but the hand tool, you could not see the scale tool in the hand tool. So definitely the scale tool is used to resize, while the move tool is used to move your element around. At the same time, you can use your scale tool with it as well. So that's what this literally means, and that way we'll be able to talk about the movement tool and the scale tool for resizing. I hope to see you in the next lesson where we'll get to go to the next tool set in our toolbar. I hope to see you in the next lesson. See you there.